I do not think that comparative oncology is a fad. I think it will exist for the foreseeable future and hopefully for a long time. And there's a couple reasons for that. I think that when we talk about comparative oncology, what we really mean is a one medicine approach, right? Well, we're mammals, they're mammals. Our general responses to cancer and chemotherapy and treatments are going to be the same. So if you can prove that something will work in more than one species, it's much more likely to be a successful treatment in real life on the clinic floor. And so if we can prove that something works in canine cell lines and human cell lines and feline cell lines, and then we can put those into mice and show that it works regardless of whether it's a dog or a human, we're much more likely to be successful once we actually get that into a clinical patient than not. Pathways that are conserved across species are important pathways. Inhibiting those pathways, if it works in more than one species, again, more predictive of being able to work in the future. As far as how comparative oncology works in drug development, I think there's a huge role for us to play, and everybody is concerned about the cost of medicine and how much things cost when we buy them. Well, these cancer treatments are really expensive, but they're expensive because you're not just paying for chemotherapy drug X. You're paying for chemotherapy drugs W, V, Z that came before it that didn't pan out. But all the R&D that went into that, if they fail in a phase 2 trial, that's millions of dollars that have been put into a drug that never went to market. So then the next version of the drug does make it to market, but you're paying for the drugs before that. If we can get better attrition of drugs that don't work earlier on in the process so that less money is spent on those previous formulations of the drug, the ultimate response is that those end drugs will be cheaper and more available and maybe have a faster track to approval. And that's where I think dogs and even cats play a role. Dogs metabolize drugs very similarly to humans, which makes them an ideal model. Cats don't have all the liver enzymes necessary to metabolize some of the drugs the way humans do. So it will probably lead towards dogs as being, for drugs, a better model for that. For devices, I don't think it matters. But when it comes into that, I think where we really play that role is being able to allow for earlier attrition or modifying the dose frequency. Do we give a drug twice a week or once every 3 weeks? Being able to work that out before it gets to a human clinical trial means that we have saved money, we have saved time. Fewer people are getting treated with inappropriate drug doses or drug frequencies, and so if we streamline that process, then we've benefited the dogs by getting a treatment they never would have had access to. And we learned about the disease. And we benefit the humans by getting them the best drug at the right dose, at the right frequency, earlier on in the process. And so that's how I feel like we can help and move that forward. I think that now, the NIH, the FDA, those places are starting to see that. So the NIH this year has put out calls last year and this year for veterinary-related cancer research. They haven't done that before. Not with any real level, but twice now they've done that. So I think we're starting to see that become mainstay. I think it will have the staying power as the benefits become more obvious.